Hello, loves. Hello, hello. Hills here from the Blue Flame. How are we all doing in this magnificent energy as I'm coming to you right now on the 30th of November? Venus is crossing over into Sagittarius, where it will spend most of the rest of this month. Venus in Sagittarius bringing adventure and exploration and seeking for higher expressions in that which we love. Let's feel for a moment. We're going to talk today about the Gemini Super Moon, which is happening on the 4th of December. But first, let's dive into this energy of Venus and Sagittarius and explore Sagittarius a little bit more. Sagittarius is an energy of exploration and adventure. It's fun-loving. It's ruled by Jupiter. There's all this curiosity in the sign of Sagittarius, and it's higher and higher, seeking for newer, more profound wisdoms. So when Venus, the planet of love and relationships and magnetism and feminine wiles, we could say, enters this sign, part of what we are experiencing is that desire for higher expressions in all of our relationships. So here we can feel, how can I express myself more truly in my relationship with my partner, with my sibling, with my coworker, with my mother, with my father, with my aunts and my uncles, with the world, with myself. And here is where we're really going to start to touch into the energies of the Gemini supermoon. You see, this supermoon, it's the final supermoon of the cycle. It's the one that's the farthest away from the Earth. So it's the smallest of the three supermoons that we had, but that does not make it less significant. It is a supermoon, a lunation at destiny's crossroads. Now, what do I mean by that? What do we mean by that? Well, this supermoon finds the moon at 13 degrees of Gemini. 13 degrees of Gemini. Remember, we're in that 2813 new moon, full moon cycle. So this is another of those full moons where the moon is at 13 degrees of its sign. The sun is at 13 degrees of Sagittarius. The moon is in conjunction with a retrograde Anubis in Gemini. Anubis helps us remember ourselves. It's the god, the coyote-headed god, that trickster god that invites us to practice funerary rites, to let go of that stuff within our desire body, perhaps, right? Got that Venus energy. That stuff within our desire body that does not actually serve the next expression. We work with Anubis through the Akashic records. We work with Anubis through underworld journeys. Anubis helps guide the soul through the dark night, through the underworld, so that everything that doesn't need to come into the next rising is shed, is let go of. And the next rising can be the next highest expression. And there's that Sagittarius energy again, the next highest expression of our soul. The sun is conjunct the rose dragons, who are that interdimensional empowerment energy of the heart. It is the rose quartz, that second chamber of the heart energy in dragon form. So it's all that fire of the dragon, all that rising of the interwoven aspects of your masculine and feminine, all of the releasing of judgments when it comes to who and what we share our love with, including within ourselves. Dragon energy is mighty. It is the hero energy. It is the hero energy. It is that energy of moving into a new plane, a new journey, a new adventure, bravely, bold-heartedly, fully aligned to the mission at hand. The sun and the rose dragons are also going to be conjunct the great attractor. And we've been talking, and we have talked a lot about the great attractor here at the Blue Flame, because it is such a fundamental and foundational energy. It is that journey into the dark night that pulls. It works with that Anubis energy. It magnetizes, almost like Venus. It pulls out anything that does not serve the light, the outward expression. Now, the sun working with the rose dragons and the great attractor, while the moon across the wheel in Gemini works with Anubis, would already be pretty magnificent, right? But we also have the south node in Virgo and the north node in Pisces at exactly 13 degrees of their signs, which means that the sun and the moon, the north node and the south node, are making an exact mutable grand cross. Mutable crosses invite the closing of a chapter. They invite that shedding. When we think about what Pisces represents, Pisces is the end of the great karmic wheel. It is the end of the astrological wheel. It is bringing us into contact with everything that we have experienced throughout our journey, our cycle, whatever that cycle looks like. It could be an entire incarnation. It could be a movement through a year. It could be a movement through a breath. It could be a movement through many, many incarnations. But Pisces, when we come to Pisces and we prepare to tick over into Aries, what we're doing is moving from one journey into the next. Okay? And we've had Pisces on that journey. We have Neptune having just ticked over a couple of weeks ago from Aries into Pisces. We just on the 27th had Saturn turn around direct in Pisces, heading back towards Aries. And when we remember that 2026, the year that we are about to come into in a couple of weeks here, is coming into a new cycle where we have master numbers as our numerological equation for the year. It's a 10-year, which is also a 1 year, 10 being a master number. And we get to have 2 tarot cards because we have the Wheel of Fortune and we have the Magician, 10 and 1. And we'll have a few years like this, right? This next cycle is a cycle where we are exploring various potentialities and various paths, and we can start to see and feel all the different timelines that are running, the different frequencies that are available in any moment, and make choices. And here we come to that at destiny's crossroads again. So with that south node in Virgo, and today, the 30th, and as we continue on, Magdalena at 1 of Virgo as well is playing along in all of this, currently exactly square to Venus entering Sag. We are experiencing all of those old stories that tell us that we are less than, that tell us that we are not whole. Virgo is the sign of whole unto self. And as we come through this next cycle, we are being guided with Anubis, with the Great Attractor, with the Sun and the Moon, as the North Node moves through Pisces and the rose dragons hold us in empowered compassion, to let go of all of those false narratives that tell us that we are separate from the divine, that we are something less than whole, that we must need be healed. Part of this is a releasing of those old karmic narratives as we move into the dharmic era. Letting go of the amnesia of incarnation so that we can feel the wholeness of our being. Now, as all of this grand crossing is occurring, we have a whole lot of other really yummy stuff. In particular, we still have Jupiter retrograde in Cancer at 24 degrees, making that square to Eris, and Chiron at 22 degrees is conjunct this as well. We have that Jupiter still in trine, though it's starting to shift out as Saturn begins its forward dance again, still in trine to Saturn in Pisces, that trine which was exact last week. We find Mercury and Lilith in Scorpio. Mercury now direct again as of yesterday, as of the 29th. Mercury now moving forward once again. And on the full moon, we find a grand water trine between Jupiter, Saturn, Mercury, and Lilith. Explorations of how we speak to ourselves about our karma and our dharma. Remember, Scorpio, where Mercury and Lilith are, is that sign of empowerment, of collecting and connecting to all of that which was once hidden so that we may more fully be in our power. While this is happening, that squaring Eris Chiron with Jupiter in Aries, Eris and Chiron in Aries, are making a really amazing and powerful trine, a fiery trine, with Hekate, Juno, Mars. The trine between Mars and Chiron, in fact, both at 22 degrees of their sign, is exact. Mars has been getting a makeover, or maybe a better way to say that, a truer way to say that, we are dealing with Sagittarius after all, is that Mars is coming into its higher expression. The expression not of warlike, aggressive, combative, but empowered. I am coming into that more true, that more light-filled, that more dharmic, perhaps, expression of Aries, which Mars rules. And we find Chiron exactly trine in retrograde still until just as we come into 2026. Where are those wounds of abandonment, of disempowerment, still running the script, the code underneath in our un- and subconscious? Can we allow this moon this nice bright supermoon to shine a light on those places and those spaces. It won't be quite exactly a sextile, but it's pretty close. And it's close enough for us to play around with that energy anyways. And with Jupiter involved, of course, we can play. Hekate is the guardian of the crossroads. Hekate speaks to all of the cycles. And this is something that I've been really playing with personally, quite a bit recently, which is that there is no beginning or ending. It is simply a movement. We move from that void moon into the maiden. We find ourselves nurtured and nourished in the garden, and we move into that full moon that is the mother. And we shed from that space. We shed from that space as we start to release anything that is no longer necessary, and we come to that moment of our crownness, our crownness, as we journey deeper and deeper and deeper, and we return to the void once again. And here with this, we can feel how that moment of emergence and that moment of it's all emergence. It's all emergence. We move from one room to the next in a flow. And all of this Saturn, Pisces energy has been inviting us to feel this deeper and more and more and more. And we get to play with Neptune in Pisces for the next couple of months still, as well as they prepare Saturn and Neptune to make their great conjunction once again at the end of January, beginning of February. As all of this turning and exploration is occurring with Mars in trine to Chiron, we find also Persephone at 1 degree of Pisces. Persephone at 1 degree of Pisces. And here we feel that maiden and that crone, and how Persephone leaves the garden and goes and explores the depths of her being, goes on that underworld journey. And here we find Persephone on this full moon at 1 degree of Pisces, exactly across from Magdalena at 1 degree of Virgo. And that introspective reclamation energy that Magdalena with the black ray and the raven energies and that obsidian energy. And how Persephone's journey into the underworld is also connected to Magdalena, and it is a journey into wholeness. And that Magdalena, during this full moon, is trying to Sophia, wisdom, gnosis, in Capricorn, who is also sextile Persephone. And we can feel all these aspects of the feminine principle working together, working together. And then we feel that Hygeia, retrograde at 4 degrees of Cancer, is trine to Persephone, is sextile to Magdalena. And we feel that fast, beautiful, exploratory, white light, awakening, healing energy. And then we feel back into Pisces again, and we feel Yeshua at 3 degrees and Kali at 6. The masculine coming in form of humanity, human being. That Yeshua energy is the human coming into connection with the Christ. And we can feel how the opposition between Magdalena and Yeshua is also alive. And what does it mean to all of us, to our being, when we allow the seemingly masculine and the seemingly feminine parts of our being, those parts of ourselves that resonate more to the feminine principle, and those parts of ourselves that resonate more to the masculine principle, to unite, to come together, to dance across the karmic wheel. To dance across the karmic wheel. What dreams alight? What new energy can be created? What new energy can be created? And we can feel Kali inviting a fierceness, and we can remember that at the maiden moon, that Pisces maiden moon, that birthing, growing moon in the garden, the moon was conjunct with Kali, and we can open to feel more of the mother, the fierce mother, yes, but the mother that Kali represents. All of the aspects and elements of creation, all of the elements and aspects of creation, none demonized, none cast out, but instead incorporated into the wholeness of our story. And when we feel that Saga, the asteroid Saga, the Nordic goddess, is at 10 degrees of Pisces, we can play with how when we allow the full incorporation of our story, we are able to step more fully into our destiny. And then we find the North Node there at 13 degrees of Pisces. Can you feel how all of this is movements connecting with one another? Everything moving in union, in harmony, in concert with. And when we really allow the entire symphony of our beingness, its true expression, giving every instrument its solo, and allowing quiet, those pauses that are necessary also. We are starting to understand, perhaps, the wow, amazing offerings of this full moon at Destiny's Crossroads. There are lots of other turnings going on as we move through this full moon, but we have just gone through quite the cauldron, and it feels important to take a moment to explore some ways that we can more wholly work with, play with, explore within our being these energies, how to ceremony, how to ritual within these energies. Let's take a moment and feel, shall we? Let's take a moment and breathe together. The first thing that came through as I took that pause is working with the torus field of the sacral center. Now, we work a lot with the heart torus field and with the mental torus field. In our new moon circle, just a couple of weeks ago in the portal. The meditation, the activation that came through actually took us into a connection of the third eye and the root. And this feels like it could be a really beautiful way to start bringing greater understanding between your spiritual and your physical states of being, which is really a massive aspect of this energy. And also, can you play with the various potentialities that are available to you? Now, this is a fun one. We're gonna have a little bit of fun here. A very tangible, physical, fun exploration, which is something that I very much enjoy doing, which is going on a walk. Now, if you live in the country, you can do it in the country. If you live in the city, you can do it in the city. But the walk itself is the adventure. And it's an exploration in potentialities. So every time you come to an intersection, and this can be a grouping of trees if you're walking through the woods, it can be an actual intersection if you're walking through the city. As you leave your house, even, allow the feelers of your being, your heart, your mind, and your root to stretch out and feel all of the possible different directions that you could go in that moment. And listen to your innate knowing with that statement of, in the highest good of my being, to experience that which is in the highest good of my being. Which direction should I go in this moment? And then walk that direction. And then when you come to the next intersection, whatever that may be, allow that moment of pause and to do that again and see how it changes your interaction with everything around you. Feel yourself opening, your channel opening to receive more. And if you're called to a flower, to smell the flower, smell the flower. If you're called to stop and commune with a bird, stop and commune with a bird. Perhaps you will find that you have gotten so connected to everything that's occurring that an ant on the road will call you and you'll sit with the ant for a little while, or a beetle or a worm. Allowing each moment to be an exploration of innate wisdom as you make a journey that leads you from your door back to your door again with no conditions set except for highest good. Let me experience that which I need to experience on this journey. And through that, perhaps you can feel more of what your signals are. And that way, when you're in situations that are maybe a little bit more fraught, you can find your way through your innate wisdom into your highest expression of that situation as well. Coming up to those crossroads and just playing in them in a low stakes way can really help us to get into those places where we can make the decision that is in the highest good when the stakes are maybe a bit higher feeling. And I think that's where I'll leave us. Thank you so much. And today is the last day that the Venus Point transmission is available. It's coming back into the main portal. starting tomorrow, the 1st of December. So if you're catching this and it's still the 30th of November, use that link below. You might even catch it on the 1st of December if depending on your time zone before I move it back out again. And however you're called to journey through this crossroads, through this movement from one place to the next that is an emergence as it is always. I share this update with you as always, in the always, with so much and many loves from the dimensions of the all and beyond the beyond.